Hey, it's Raven Tactical here. It's been a little bit since we got a video uploaded with the holidays and with everything going on in winter and getting cold and having to get wood in the fires. It's been a little crazy trying to get everything up and running. Um, that and it's really dark, so trying to film while you're driving home is almost impossible too. Uh, a lot of things have happened in the last 2 weeks, mostly things with gun rights. So, we're a homesteading, prepper, Second Amendment kind of channel. So, one of the things that we like to bring up is current events with Second Amendment news. As most people know, Virginia got taken over by the Democratic Party, and instantly they started doing Second Amendment changes. They violated the oath, they violated the Constitution, and they went full crazy, full tilt. So, they're looking at full confiscation, they're looking at full bans on anything over 10 rounds, if I'm understanding it correctly. Everything is really an assault weapon, and at one point there was no grandfather cause, and now they're throwing a bone to people as a grandfather cause for your current weapons, but you're still required to register them too. Um, and right now, too, within the last 24 hours or 48 hours, they started saying, as a result of it, a lot of towns came up and started saying that we're going to be Second Amendment sanctuary cities, similar to the ones that basically are housing immigrants or illegal immigrants who choose not to enforce the laws for deporting people. Well, the same thing with Second Amendment. They're choosing to have sanctuary cities where they're not going to impose Virginia's unconstitutional laws. The counter to that is that the governor and that party out that side has started to declare that they would use the National Guard to enforce the law because they feel like they're breaking their oath to the governor, not the Constitution. So it gets a little interesting. So the concept of civil war we talked about before, but I'm breaking down the Civil War into an army, making an acronym. So what I want to talk about is how do you prepare for civil war, and I have a feeling that the powder keg is getting really close. I mean, we're really close to complete chaos and complete destruction. And even with the election coming up, you're seeing things, even leading up with all the little various things with the impeachment process. And now I think now they're reversing the impeachment process and trying to go after the Pelosi side. And I'm looking at it going, why? Let's just, let's at least try to end it and at least continue government. Well, I shouldn't say continue government, but at least start working. I believe all this is just a big smokescreen because the underlying things is things in Virginia, things like this, the gun control methods are coming. But I broke this down into things that you could probably write down and use. One thing I'm going to say is you're going to have I'm going to say citizens out of the Civil War. I'm going to say citizens. You're going to be having people training, teaching, forming groups, forming militias, getting together and actually having conversations and putting things together, having a group or a mutual aid, a pact where you and your friends get together and you guys talk about the things that are going. You guys get together and you go shooting, maybe even go hunting. Maybe you start practicing all the things that you learn. Maybe one guy can afford to go to a rifle class, but he comes back and teaches it to you, kind of thing. And I think that's important. I mean, that's your core group, is the citizens of this country. It's what built it. It's not the government that built it. The government was supposed to basically work for the citizens, and now it's not. The I is going to be inventory. Stock up. Whether it's food, weapons, gear, clothing, animals, chickens, eggs, all these things. Like, you need to have very deep inventory. Logistics would be kind of a key thing with this, and I think you need it. If you don't have food, you're done. You're done because everything is going to be a way to control people. Those who don't have food are more likely to bow to those who have food. So if the government's the one with food and you have all these people in cities who right now are like, well, we got to fight, but as soon as they run out of food, they sell out. But if you're the guy that has food, you can maintain it. If your group is the one that's growing food and all this, and you can be self-sufficient, you're not going to be the one that folds. Now that actually kind of goes into the concept I've talked before, where the concept of a militia works. However, I think the concept of a militant farmer works better because that militant farmer not only is training for the defense of his area, but he's also trained to keep his area maintained and having food. The V is going to be vehicles. I might have spelled it wrong. You're going to have to want to keep your vehicle in great running shape. You might have a couple vehicles. We do. You're going to want to make sure everything is ready to go. I mean, it'd be a shame if you need, for an emergency, when everything is down, that your truck, your battery is old and you didn't replace it. Your oil changes haven't been done and you haven't been maintaining it and stuff falls apart the moment you need it. I mean, these are going to be the things that, how do you get to that fight, right? Let's say it happens in your town and, an event happens where there's riots and chaos and they're burning your buddy's house down in your group. Well, cool, you're going to have to go get them. What good does it do if your vehicle falls apart halfway there? The other I is going to be intel, so intelligence. You're going to want key information. You're going to want critical or current events. So, like, not ignoring the news. I mean, we have a tendency right now to kind of gloss over some of the things because we don't have cables. We don't have Fox News and all that. I listen to a couple variety of things, and it's either through, like BBC is just one of them that I use for, like, diversifying, because I like to listen to the other side. So I want to hear a liberal side, and I want to hear more of a conservative side, so I can make a choice. I don't like hearing the same, whatever they want to call it, reverbing in the sound room, where you hear the same thing. I get to make a choice. I get to listen to things that a left person would start to say, and you start thinking, wow, they're really wrong. But at the same time, at least you're not sitting here getting the Fox News thing where you get talked to and then you're like, everything, I'm just repeating everything that I've heard from Fox News. I personally think we need to start moving away from that because a lot of the media is controlled by really wealthy leftist people. They've controlled it. They took it over and bought it. Fox News was sold to a Islamic guy from the Middle East. He owns the entire thing. What do you think their actual, spin is going to be on everything? Current events. Pay attention to what's going on around your neighborhood. Pay attention to what's going on in the world, especially the world. If things are heating up in the Middle East or if things are heating up in Europe, watch Ukraine right now. Ukraine's going to be a hotbed item in the next coming years. Ukraine, we have troops over there right now training the Ukrainians. Why? Because it's going to be a hotbed topic between Russia and America. Taiwan, and it's going to be another one between China and Taiwan. It's going to be the same thing. They're looking at expanding. They're looking at getting their country back together, and it's what it's going to be. These things are going to draw us into a fight countrywide, and then you're going to have to look into the whole concept. Things in Virginia, keeping a current events of what's going on there. It's going to be informative because another state's already doing it. Washington is already starting to do the same concepts that Virginia is doing. And why is it going to work? Well, cities control everything. So cities control the state because they have all the population. They've brought in mass immigration, and they brought in all these people who share the same thought. They have basically the democracy problem that happens. The states, I believe, really need to go to some form of republic way of voting on things, where the conservative, or I should say conservative, where rural gets a chance to actually have, a chance to vote, because everything is controlled by the cities. I mean, Chicago and Rock County out there controls all of Chicago. Not everybody there, or not Chicago, all of Illinois. And like here, Milwaukee, Madison, and Green Bay control all of Wisconsin. I mean, you can have 90% of the state vote, or at least county-wise, vote for one way, but these three vote the other way, and they have the majority. We wind up losing every single time. So their city view of life, of no guns, of just basically being reliant on government, turns out, and that's how you get all these laws. Let's see. The L out of civil is going to be logical, critical thinking. You can't just go with whatever you think it is. Start critically thinking. When they start talking about how they're going to use law enforcement to round up guns, and the first thing you come to is, no, they're going to hold to their oath, they're going to hold to this. Critical thinking would say, in a group dynamic, they follow the group. If you look at examples of Nazi Germany, the majority of the people in the military were not Nazis. They still followed the Nazis, though. They still took orders from the Nazis. They had the majority, but why? Because the group decision made these things. The group went forward with these things. When you have instances like Waco, Ruby Ridge, all these instances with red flag laws and all this kind of things, you're looking at a whole long-term scenario of group dynamics. I'm not saying they will all follow, but don't expect people in these positions to suddenly resist right away and defend, want to defend you because they don't know you and they don't know me, and they're not going to go out of their way and lose their job over something they don't know or someone they don't care about. But yeah, think critically on things. Don't just take something for face value. Look at it deeper than what it actually could be. There's a lot of things people fail to do. They just don't want to think because they just want to go along with it. The W, obviously, we're going to do weapons. Be ready, zeroed, and trained, right? Having your weapon ready. Magazines loaded. Having a weapon zeroed is incredibly important. And taking the training for it. Having the ability to know that you're going to be able to put rounds on target at the distances you want to hit. First time go. You want that. You cannot ignore the simple fact of that's what the primary focus of all this could be, is being able to be that Minuteman kind of concept. The A, I'm going to use it for ammunition. I know it could fall under inventory, but ammunition by itself, if you don't have ammunition stocked up, your weapon's nothing but a club. And I'll use the example I've used before. 22 shortage during around 2000-ish, when Obama took office. There was a complete shortage and a run on all ammunition. People couldn't find 9mm 22s because they were so cheap, everybody bought it up. You had people for the next 3-4 years crying because they couldn't get a box of 22, and they were upset at the people that could get it. They were upset at the people who were flipping it. I choose to sit there and say those who flipped it and made money, that's capitalism. Was it right or wrong? I don't care. I decided before all that happened, I was already stocking up. If I wanted to shoot 22, I could. And when we tell people, hey, start stocking up. Stock up. Get 22 ammunition. Get your 9mm. Don't sit there and go, have a small little box of ammunition and go, well, this is all I need because this is all I shoot. What happens when it's gone? Reloading is a good option. It's one thing that I'm slowly working into and getting everything set up. It's an investment in itself, and it's also a bit of a learning curve too. So I'm not going to jump down your throat and say that you got to be reloading, because right now it's a time thing and I'm working towards it. And then simply R, the readiness for the fight. That includes PT, physical fitness, and all this. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, it has been the worst I've ever had it for gaining weight. I have gained weight like crazy in the last couple of months. Partially it's the weather, partially it's this. And I'm working out. I work out about 4 or 5 hours, an hour each day, Monday through Friday. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm working with the fire department. At least trying most of the time. We're getting out there at least once a week with the fire department doing more. Has it been easy? No. It's also partially diet. And so starting in January, it's going to be a complete diet change. So that, I'm going to go back to a diet where there's very, very low carbs, very low sugar, and we're going to see almost a big change. My readiness for the fight, I'm in there with you. Am I in the best shape of my life? No. So that's the point. I want to get in the best shape I can be. I think it's incredibly important that we all band together and stay together and stop fighting each other. I think it's petty when you see things like, people getting upset over what kind of weapon you have, and you don't have this or that. Well, you know what? They got what they got. So, this is my concept on Civil War. Again, it's a coming thing that we have to actually have, and we got to be ready for it. I think we're only maybe, if you look at history and how things changed, we're about a year, 12 months from now to 24 months from now, I think we're going to be in a completely different world that we've never been in. It's going to be a complete chaos. So pay attention to what's going on. Don't get distracted by all the things that are distracting out there and covering it up and keeping you from actually enjoying life and actually getting ready for this. It's Random Tactical. I'm signing out. Have a good day.